Hello. Yeah, welcome back to ABI-DOS. Last episode we started key generator. Had a couple problems regarding a lot of stuff, but I kind of looked around and there were a lot of different things that I could do to optimize my current solution. So I guess we should try those out. Firstly, well, there's a lot of things here. Our current setup basically pulls objects out once every 2 turns. And it uses a mechanism down here to pull out 11 objects. So it pulls out 10 objects like this, and then an 11th one here. And after that, you will always get your last digit being the last 151 in the row, right? The plan is to have it wait for a certain amount of time before restarting the cycle and pull out the next 11 objects, because every 11 bits is one full. Well, we can confirm to be one full set of data. The goal is to then use this value over here, which counts bits, to basically split up this chain or this stream when required. So for example, this 8 will activate this splitter at this point. And so when 4 items have been split up, you get those 4 items moving in one direction and 4 items moving in the other direction, which splits them into half. That's the goal of the machine, which is to split split digits into half. Then the first and last digit of each half will add together, etc, etc, etc. Yeah. And the goal is to basically reverse one of the streams. Yeah. Okay, so the challenge. The challenge. Well, there isn't really a challenge. I was talking about a breakthrough, right? Sorry, my brain blanked out a bit. So yeah, first breakthrough is that this can be much more optimized. That is, if I put a caller at the end, it actually only triggers once. So that was what I wanted to do for 11, right? For 11, I basically only want to trigger this once, which means all I really need to do is put this at the very end of this chain, and it only be triggered once, just like how I would have liked it to be. So I basically want something that looks like this. This will also call out 11 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It'll go here and it will wait for a while until the next cycle is ready to start. Yeah, so similarly, you always get 11 items. That's a lot simpler. It takes a lot less space, but we can do even better here. The reason why I wanted everything to split up into once per 2 cycles is because for this sensor to work, this 151 and this sensor to work, you cannot have them right behind each other. So as you can see here, they must be separated by 2. If they were only separated by 1 space, then when one bit is here, the other bit here will be the one that's determining whether the bit in front will be separated or not. And it's not what we want. We don't want a 151 straggling behind to accidentally send a necessary bit in front into the throwaway error. And fortunately, I found a way to fix that. And the answer is actually really, really simple. It is just duplicate. The reason why is because if you duplicate, you basically get the same digit on the same spot as when it gets you get the digit on the sensor and the conveyor at the same time. That's because that's how a duplicator works by necessity. It will allow you to separate into two streams that run concurrently, and that's basically what we want. So this allows me to do all these tests concurrently, which also means I can now put all of these right behind each other, and it should work. Right? Yeah, look at that. You get some weird discrepancies here, but all the 151s get thrown away as expected. The weird discrepancies here come from these obstructors, which we actually no longer need, because those obstructors were used to delay, or they were used to fit a longer stream of bits into a shorter space. But since the stream is now really short, there's no need for those obstructors anymore. So you get the 8 here. Yeah, 2, 4, 6. You get the 8 bits here. And of course, that also means that we have to shorten this obstructor, which is waiting for that stream to pass through. I think I can push it down to like a 10. I'm not entirely sure how low I can push it down to. Yeah, okay, I gotta like lengthen these streams just to make sure I can understand exactly where the split happens. The problem with this is actually that because 7 and 8 are two separate values, 7 and 8 will split the stream at different points. Now, because these bits are so close together, but I think I do have a fix for that. This is way too slow, this has to be faster. How about an 8? So it will split the stream about here. About there. But you can, okay, but we're even worse now. Yeah, we're even worse now. Okay. I need to test with another digit first, but if I split this into an even smaller value, let's say 7, we should be fine. We should split the value around here. There you go, that's 4 and 4. The difficulty is, if it was 7, for example, like that's a 7, right? That's a 7 and a 4. The 7 will split up in the wrong spot. We want the 7 to split up into, I think, 4 and 3 is fine, but not entirely. Okay. So, in reality, rather than splitting by each digit separately, we split by two digits. So 5 and 6 will give you the same value, 7 and 8 will give the same value, 9 and 10 will give the same value. Which is why we're using the less than sensors. We basically want to split into half rounding off, or rounding up or rounding down. It really doesn't matter, as long as you do the same thing for every set of values. Which means that for 5 and 6, a simple less than 7 indicator, a less than 7 sensor would work for both of them. For 7 and 8, a less than 9 indicator would work for both of them. And for 10 and 11, a simple less than 11. For 9 and 10, a simple less than 11 sensor would work for both of them. So it would look like this. And so, yeah, so if we have 8 here, 8 will be sensing this point, which means 8 should split into... I guess 8 should do this, then... Okay. Well, I can change that by just pushing this up by 1. It should work, I think. So yeah, the 8 will activate the less than 9 sensor. That will do that. The 7 will do the exact same thing. The 7 will activate the less than 9 sensor, but not the less than 7 sensor, which means it will also split into 4 and 3, because the last 3 are, yeah. And then the 11 sensor, yeah. If we went even further to a value of 6, the 6 will activate the less than 7 sensor, which means you will split into, I think, just 3 and 3. 2 and 4, oh, that's a problem. If it were here, it would work, but that feels inconsistent. Yeah. Okay, wait, hold on. This is a 5. Does a 5 work? Oh, 5 also works. Oh, do they have to be all together? What a big value like a 10. The 10 should activate this and spin to 5, 5. Oh, it does. Wow. Oh, kind of the problem is that these don't split well enough. Alright, this has to hold longer. This has to hold for, I think, 10 at least, right? I'm not sure. Does it have to hold for 10 at least? No, because digits will only have a maximum length of 10. You will have to hold 9. Okay. Holding 9 is good because we can shift everything forward by 1 and it wouldn't change anything. It will actually make things a lot nicer looking because there's less space involved. But yeah, this should work. This should split 5, 5. Yep, there you go. And then everything else still works the same, right? Our 6 should split 3, 3. Yeah. And 8 should split 4, 4. Nice. Okay, there you go. That works well for our digits. The next problem that I was trying to think about is how to reverse the order. It's not that difficult. It really isn't actually, because there's a very simple way of reversing the order of digits, which is to take every set of digits, get them to deviate at the same time into a separate track, and then reverse the direction of the track. So you have 4 digits here, let's say 1, 2, 3, and 4. When they all deviate at the same time with a certain wire. We won't use the red wire because the red wire is already attached to this guy. They will deviate and then be down here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then they will be turned towards the left because of the direction of the conveyors. What comes out is instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it becomes 4, 2, 3, 1 that comes out. So that very easily diverts the direction of your conveyor, which is good, it's useful. We can probably program it in right now. But that leaves one final problem, I think, before all the extra steps here. The final problem is how to work with that stray middle digit. For example, if I had a length of 7 here, we have a middle digit of 3, right? In this case, we want the middle digit to multiply by itself. For all lengths, calculate the square of the middle value. Yeah. And then we start the process in the middle values. That one is already determined by this machine down here. So, because we are rounding up, right? If a length of 7 were to run, a length of 7 would split the middle digit onto the right stream. We have to work on the right stream here. The problem is kind of, how are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? How are we going to know whether to... I mean, it's easy. An odd value can be mod 2'd into the value of 1, which can activate more stuff. Also, another thing that I wanted to state. Okay, well, the thing is, if we ran concurrently, if we ran these digits concurrently, then all of these digits will have a partner except the last digit. Maybe we can use that, right? Although the idea of running concurrently is a little bit challenging to work with, because how do you make sure digits run concurrently? I guess one way of doing it is, since these digits will be, this is always the first digit, so it always comes here when this digit is here. I can maybe have a conveyor that, a wire that activates the split here maybe. Okay, so we want this red wire to be out of the way first, like so. We want the split to be here, and we know there are going to be a maximum of 5 digits being split. There will be a B sensor here to activate this split, which we can use a blue wire for, which will then take those digits and run them in the opposite direction. Obviously, these are going to sync up because it's going to be a lot faster, this line, but we'll see what happens. So it takes up these digits, it splits them, and it runs them in the opposite direction. So now 3 goes to the 3. No, wait. Oh, crap. Wait, the last digit is now the middle digit. That's not what we wanted. It's supposed to be a 4 with a 3. Ah, but if they ran concurrently, this digit will have no partner, meaning this digit will be alone. This 4 will be tagged to this 3 because of the middle thing. So if we went back to the 8s, right? We should be able to split up at 4 each. So you see this 5 and this 2, the 9 and the 9, the 6 and the 9, the 8 and the 6. I suppose if I were to just delay these bits by a little bit, we should have them synced up at some point. Maybe. We'll see how the digits sync up with each other. This is slower now. So now is it synced up? Yes, it is now synced up. Look at that. Which means you can do all the writing how we wanted it to. Yeah. Okay, for 7, you will now notice that the first digit here will not sync up with anything because it's the middle digit. It is by definition not going to. Never mind, it syncs up. Huh, that's a problem. That's a big, big problem. Why is that? Wait, I don't get the math behind why that works. Because... is it always that this digit and this digit syncs up? Is that why? Which is why when we go to 7, it's the middle digit and the digit after it that syncs up. So this 3 and this 3 will sync up. Ah, that is something we're going to have to fix. There are a few ways you could fix it, I think. But yeah, you can see they sync up, which is not good. And it is only particularly for digits, for sequences of length 5 and above. This is length 6. Length 6 won't have any issues. Length 6 will work as per expected. 5 and 4, 2 and 6. Oh, wait. Oh, there's something very wrong here. Right. The middle point... okay. So it's not about... okay, I'm singing them up wrongly then. So wait, does a 6 sync up now? I think a 6 will sync up now. Oh no, a 6 is even faster now. Oh, we gotta have even more... okay, we gotta have even more protrusions if we wanted to fix that. Okay, well then that's not going to work. The syncing thing is not going to work, especially with the odd digits. Okay, right now let's ignore the syncing issue. And just deal with this first. How are we gonna put these to work? We always know this 5 is going to be a problem. So like... but the 5 is only going to be a problem if it's an odd digit. So how are we gonna fix that? Maybe if this value is odd, then it will activate a nullifier for this exact bit. That seems valid, right? Because this is always going to be the first bit that comes out. Just the problem is that it depends on... yeah, the first bit will be in a different position depending on the length. I think that's a problem. To target exactly one bit in a very unknown position will be a problem. Yeah, someone's gonna have a problem. So like if it were 7, this would be the middle bit. But if it were like a 5, then this would be the middle bit. If it were a 9, this would be the middle bit. So how are we gonna fix that? Does this Z have a... no, it doesn't have any variations. The nullifier will absolutely only nullify once. Maybe I need to use a synchronizer. Maybe I do need to use a synchronizer. Will synchronizer help? I don't see how a synchronizer would help though. Like all of these bits are already running concurrently, it's just their starting position is different. I can't really set their starting positions to be the same. A synchronizer almost works identical to an obstructor, which kind of breaks down when you use these, yeah. Yeah, there's still a problem here. I don't know how to eliminate the middle bit. Okay, question. If I shifted everything away, hold on. If I shifted everything off by 1, will the middle bit's position be on the other side of the stream? It might be. Like, if I made everything longer... No, it's even worse now. I need to be even shorter. Oh, that's kind of a problem. Because I can't afford it to be shorter. Like, if I made this an 8, then would you kind of have a problem? Yeah, the middle stream will now be here. I mean, it's still going to be in front, which is a problem as well, right? And this can be shifted over. The problem is when you reach a length of 10, things get dicey. I think it still works, but only because of an accidental... So if I went to like a length of 6, just here... I mean, yeah, it's even worse now. So no, it couldn't have been like that. It has to be like... this. Which means that for length of 7... This is going to be... Okay, well, then what if I reverted the other stream then? I can change that. I can make it so that the other stream is the one that's... the one that's being flipped, right? So firstly, I have to flip this so that it starts off having the middle stream be here. Then I flip this one. Okay, which I probably should have just done. Won't that... That will keep the middle digit at the very end of everything. I think. I'm not sure if the timing still works out. Oh, the timing doesn't work out anymore. This has to be a lot longer. Okay, well that's fine. We can work with that. Just put our instructor here for some number of digits first. 3 is probably not... 3 is probably too much. We'll see. Just kidding, 3 is exactly enough. Well, that works. This 3 is not the end digit, right? So if we synced up everything, this 3 will be straggling on its own. And would it work for other values? Let's say an 8. Yeah. Okay, so just to make it a little bit more easy to read, let's try syncing these up. We'll work with 7 because 7 is not the middle digit. I mean, yeah, I kind of flipped... No, I didn't. So this 2 and this 2, this 2 and this 6 fall into 3. Yeah, okay, so... Yes, it's flipped, but then I flipped it again, so... Let's unflip it. Let's unflip it. We'll see if we can get a sync to show up here. A sync probably will show up eventually. But we gotta like play around with it. So like this 1 and this 2 will fit, right? 6, 2, 3, 4, 3. Yeah, okay. The only difference is now this has to be a lot longer. Yeah, we'll deal with it eventually. There you go. It's still slightly unsynced. In fact, it's unsynced by exactly 1, which is also a problem. We can actually make it much easier on ourselves by desyncing it slightly earlier. Although I'm sure desyncing it slightly earlier won't change a thing. It will reduce this number. But otherwise, nothing changes. We'll just try though. Yeah, it's still off by exactly 1. So it's kind of like... You can't really run them concurrently. If we're in 8 though, I think the same thing would happen. Would they be off by 2 now, or would they still be off by 1? They'll be in sync. So yeah, it is kind of a problem with the 7. It's always just going to... It's always that the middle digit has to sync with something. But that's kind of awkward, isn't it? That the middle digit must sync with something. Ah. This is how parity works. The thing is, though, the thing is, there is other stuff I can do to resolve that issue. It's just gonna take up a lot of space. That would be an obstructor thing. Also, we don't really need this chain anymore. So if all of these was split by an obstructor of exactly 1, I think it would actually help. Is this the 7? Yeah, this is a 7. Oh, is it not? Is it the other way around? I think it's the other way around. I think this should have been split by 1, so this should have been lessened by 1. It's kind of a problem though, it's really hard to do that. I just have to like really lengthen this line. And even then, like, we're kind of doing this very one-off-ish. If this were a 5, it wouldn't work. Oh, are we off by 1 now? Thank you. Well, then we have another problem, which is that the 8s won't sync anymore. The 8 will be 1 off. So I'm thinking of using this line here as only activated when you get a value of 1 after mod 2ing. So 1 after mod 2ing. Mod 2 gives you a value of 1 or 2 based on whether it is even or odd. This is a 1. And this will only activate when it is a 0, which is an odd number. We'll see if this works. So an 8 mod 2 is 0. Oh, I don't divide by 2, mod by 2. Which is the remainder when divided by 2, which will be 0 for an 8. 0. And we want this to only activate when a value of 1 is detected. So for 0, it will activate these obstructors and make them basically not work. And then everything will be in sync. What? Did I make something longer on accident? Wow. I made something longer. Where was I? Testing out the 8, right? Does this sync up now? Yeah, it syncs up now. Does the 7 sync up? The 7 is 2 off. Okay. So it syncs up, but in the wrong case. I mean, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense, but that kind of spoils the plan that I wanted to use. Yeah, I guess it somewhat syncs up now. You can always meddle with these numbers to make it work. The problem is that the way to meddle with these conveyors is to have more conveyors, split them up. The issue is I don't want to do that. So is there any better way of doing it? Not really, not particularly. Not particularly. Not really. There's other stuff I can do, but not really at this moment. The timing just isn't gonna work out. I don't know, I don't know. How will I deal with this? I mean, it's not really getting them to run on the same line, maybe. The reason why I want them to run along the same line is because the multiplying thing almost certainly requires a writing with a writer here. Because you have to multiply. That's the problem, you can't add. You can't just put them together. You have to multiply. And then subtract the result. Like, why do you have to like throw a wrench in the works by asking us to multiply, man? That like forces the writing. I mean, I can actually like do something about it, right? I might be able to. Hold on. Rather than these being here, why not? I just simply write them. Don't they need to be reversed first? I'm not entirely sure. Do they need to be reversed first? They might need to be reversed first. I'm not entirely sure. They might need to be reversed first. Although the reversing can actually happen in a multitude of ways. Oh, what the heck? Why is it there? Oh, it's because... Okay, we don't need this anymore. Yeah, they write it down there, I guess. So it's more like the 4 needs to merge with... The 4 needs to multiply with the 3. Oh, that's the reverse I need. They're not reversed yet. 2 with 1, 2 with 6, 4 with 3. Yeah, they're not reversed yet. I mean, I can always change that. By having them run on a really long path. Like, if they did this... Maybe. That's kind of awkward. There's a lot of... I don't understand how entirely this might work. Also, like, I really don't want them to take this path anymore. I want them to like kind of go up here maybe. That kind of feels awkward. I think. Because you then need to split stuff up. I mean, it's not that difficult really. Okay, hold on. We have more stuff we need to do. Hold on. Okay. So let's ignore this first. You don't have to go here. You take this path, right? Take that path. I want you to wait a bit and then activate these at the right time. But won't these be determined by this value? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's fine. Okay. We're just gonna say wait for 5 cycles and then activate again. 5 is a very arbitrary number, but we'll do some trial and error to see if that works. It's not here that I should have pushed out. The point is that this 3 is the one that's supposed to not do anything, right? Yeah, I think it is. Okay, again, what if we flip them? What if we flipped it around? Okay. We flipped it around, the entire machine has to be pushed forward. That's fine. Then you get some issue with this line. This line is gonna be very, very slow. But we'll work with it. We'll see if everything works out. This tree is gonna have to multiply with itself. That is kind of a problem. That is kind of a problem. But at least if I waited for a certain number of cycles, like let's say 9 cycles this time, just because everything's longer, things might start splitting up properly now. Oops, that is still too short. 11 seems good. But I'm not sure if this works with like other values like 9. Like 11 seems good, but yeah, so that multiplies gives you 12, 12, and 2, which makes sense. If I went with see if I can find a 9 somewhere. Why aren't any of these starting with lengths of 9? What? Sure, but we'll do length of 5. I think that's the closest we can get to length of 9. What? Wow. Really? Jeez, okay, then we have some kind of problem there. Because these are supposed to be here, right? Yeah, 7, 4, 7, 9. So I'm assuming that 9 is gonna be... Okay. That's because these digits come out earlier, I see. So it's almost like we should be pushing them to be as early as possible. These should be as late as possible to press them against this one, but this should be as early as possible to press them against this one. And because... it's gonna be very, very awkward with all these conveyors in the way. Yeah, there's also a problem here with this 7. Oh. Okay, so I pressed it wrong again this time. It works for the 7 but not the 5. Should this be way earlier then? I'm a bit confused what I'm trying to do here. But if this works for the 5, would it also work for the 7? We're pressing against this line. Or would the 7 be also off? The 7 will also be off. They're always going to be off regardless of where you press it against. Yeah, because the 5 took this spot and this spot. So there's no satisfactory point where you can press everything against. Okay, understand. How are we gonna do this then? Not sure. Okay, I'm not even sure if I want to work under this this sort of framework. Like, is it really okay to have such a huge matrix of stuff going on here? I don't think there is. Like, if I could just line them up properly, which would depend on the value. I could use these values to determine on what lines them up. The only issue is that it's very difficult to line things up. it's just very difficult to line things up, especially when you have odd numbers involved. The odd number is going to be a big problem. So yeah, I'll probably go think about it and we'll work on this again. I feel like we've made a decent amount of progress today though, so that's good. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Bye bye!